Hello and welcome to another Canguro English Daily Digest. My name is Christian and today is Thursday, best day of the week. There's a lot I want to talk about today, but today I'm going to be focusing on vocabulary. Because yesterday, in my interview with Scott Thornbury, the ELT teacher and teacher trainer, in his opinion, the most important thing for students to focus on is vocabulary. So I want to talk a little bit about the science of how we learn and store vocabulary in the brain. And so we're going to start with a little vocabulary test. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a list of 6 words, okay, just like this. And I'm going to show them to you for 10 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now that was just a test, okay? So I don't want you to remember those words. You can forget those words. Now I'm going to show you the real words, okay? 10 seconds. Ready? Here we go. Okay, good. Hopefully you memorized those. Okay, have them all in your memory. And we're going to come back and do a little test on those words later. But first I want to talk about an experience that I think everybody who is learning a language, and even people who are monolinguals, it's an experience they have. It's called tip of the tongue. It's when you have a word and it's right on the tip of your tongue and the word just doesn't quite come out. It's here. Like maybe you can remember it sounds similar to another word. You can remember maybe some of the sounds from that word, how long it is. Maybe it's just there, the tip of the tongue. And so what you do is you ransack your brain for that word. Ransack actually comes from Old Norse, from the Vikings, and you can see it has 2 parts. Ran means house, and sack means to seek, to look, to search. So ransack literally meant to search the house, especially for illegal goods. Now imagine if you are the police, the Viking police, and you go into the house and you're searching for stolen things. Well, you kind of, you open all the drawers and you throw things everywhere and you leave a big mess. And this is called ransacking. To ransack is to search in a kind of disorganized and messy way. So you have this tip of the tongue experience. You're ransacking your brain for the word, and then maybe it comes out and maybe it doesn't. So what's the reason for this? Well, think about how we store vocabulary in the brain. We have these symbols, and then we have the word which is attached to the symbol. So imagine that you're Spanish, okay? And you have the symbol, which is this pack of tissues. You have that stored in your brain, okay? Now, you know that the word for a tissue in Spanish is pañuelo. Okay, pañuelo. So you have this word in your brain. This is the phonetic representation of this symbol of the tissues. Now, imagine if I teach you the word for pañuelo in English, tissues, right? Now, what you want, of course, is you want to associate the word tissues directly with the object. But that doesn't happen because it's our second language. So what we do is actually the word tissues gets connected to pañuelo, and then that gets connected to the symbol indirectly, right? Like this. So you have more problems with tip of the tongue because there's all of this interference, right? Now, with time and with practice, eventually this link here disappears and you do connect the sound directly with the symbol. You could say that for this word you've achieved fluency, right? But that doesn't really explain why it's so difficult to memorize vocabulary. And now we're going to go back and we're going to test your memory. Now, I want you to think about the words on the list that I showed you, on the second list. How many of those words can you remember? There was only 6 words. Think about it. Write them down if you want. Pause this video, think about it. Okay, so let's have a look. We had belt, decade, candle, favor, newspaper, and massage. All extremely common words. Now, even though I told you to forget all of the words on the first list, how many of those can you remember? The science says that you can probably remember more of the words from this list, even though I told you to forget them. But why? How is that possible? Does this tell us something about remembering vocabulary? Yes. It's something called the age of acquisition effect. These words here, belt and decade and candle and favor, these are words that you probably encountered later in life. These are not words that you hear when you're a child. And these are, of course, much more childish words you hear when you're a baby. Go to bed, stop playing with your rocket, here's a medal for coming first. Do you want a dog? Look at your beautiful teacher, and a magician is coming to your birthday party, right? Similar kind of length, amount of syllables, similar word frequency, different age of acquisition. And the science tells us that age of acquisition, really has a dramatic effect on how well you can remember vocabulary. In fact, this paper here, which is Forgetting Novel but Not Dragon, the role of age of acquisition on intentional and incidental forgetting, this experiment is from this paper. So this is evidence that the earlier you learn a word, the more likely you are to be fluent in that word and remember it easily. Okay? Now, here's the other really kind of interesting thing. So this paper here was published very recently. It was published August 8th, a few days ago. Age of acquisition of 299 words in 7 languages. American English, Czech, Gaelic, Lebanese, Arabic, Malay, Persian, and Western Armenian. And it shows that the words that we learn first in life are basically the same across all of the languages that are studied in this and their previous work. So basically, no matter where you are in the world, you're a child in Western Armenia, or you're a child in Lebanon or in America, the words that you learn first, they come in the same sort of order. You learn about beds and rockets and magicians and everywhere. So what does that tell us about you as a second language learner? Someone who's trying to learn English as an adult? Something important to realize is that word frequency is not related to age of acquisition. So what it means is that the words that you're seeing all the time in books and in videos, and they are going to be easier for you to remember because you probably knew them when you were younger. So what you really need to focus on is that more difficult vocabulary that you don't see that often. Words that are related to maybe your specific interests, and focus on them, because the other ones will just come easier. I hope you found today's Daily Digest interesting. I'm Christian, this is Canguro English, and I'll see you in class.